Hey everyone, I'm Damian Journey, Global Chief Growth Officer at 72 and Sunny, and I'm sitting here at the Sunnyside Series in the south of France at the Canada International Festival of Lions at Sport Beach with my dear friend Johanna Mayer-Jones, the Global
Hello.
Chief Advertising Officer at the Washington Post. Welcome.
I think we should say, can we say it's like day 4 or day 5 of Cannes?
Yes,
It's like-
definitely day 5 of Cannes.
I think it's important context.
Yes, so you're going to get goodness from us, but it might be muted based on the fact that this is our 5th day.
Yes.
Making
yeah.
magic happen on the Croisette.
Indeed.
Yes,
Indeed. Here we find
indeed.
ourselves again.
By the way, you're looking fabulous today. I love
Thank
the
you.
jewels. I love the very sporty shirt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, it was intentional.
It was?
It
Tell
was
me more.
for Sports Beach.
Yay! She's dressing for the occasion and the location.
Yeah, normally I wear like a print dress for the Washington Post,
Yes.
so I thought I'd like change.
Well, at least you fit the bill here. So let's spend just a second about here. You've been to Sport Beach more than once. This is like at least your second year.
I think this is probably
maybe
the
your
third
third
time.
year.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think about this thing here that we have in Sport Beach?
I mean, it just keeps on getting bigger and better. And, I think I said this actually, like last time we talked about Sports Beach, the way that you bring partners and talent and publishers and, technologists together is really smart and interesting. This space has been beyond busy all week. I came here and I had breakfast one day, and it's like humming. It's like seriously buzzing.
It's got a heartbeat going on.
It's got a
here.
heartbeat going on. And I think that is a testament actually just to how much, not just energy that like you and everyone brings to this place, but actually the sort of reputation that it has built up over a few years as kind of the place to be.
That's
So,
cool, yeah.
Congrats.
Well, thank you for that. And like these sorts of places don't become humming buzz centers without people like you. And I say people like you have a space down the road here, but you bring people here, you come to have breakfast and lunch and snacks and things here, and come to some of our activities as well. So I just want to say thank you for supporting us in it.
I mean, it's distinctly different to our space. And I think that's why I enjoy sort of mixing between the two different environments, if you will. There's lots of different places here, right, in Cannes. But like our space is intentionally small.
Yep.
It's intentionally intimate. Like when we had a round table yesterday, for example, it was just like 9 of us really getting into it, really talking.
Getting deep?
Yeah, like being able to learn from each other off the record in a place where you get to meet Washington Post talent. Lots of our editorial staff are here. But you also get a moment of respite as well, and then a moment to kind of get a bit real.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like because our space is smaller and quieter and slightly different to some of these bigger experiences, you kind of get to have a different type of conversation.
Yeah, but I think it's fitting that you would have a space like that is very intimate and deep, because the Washington Post has historically provided amazing content on a page or a screen that really gets to the core of issues and talks about things that are clearly very topical, including sports. Talk to me about the current version of the Washington Post in the world that we live in today, and how it like moves in between the world of politics and business and sport.
Yeah.
You all are everywhere. So talk to me about how you all are doing that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big question because we're in a moment at the Washington Post, actually, like a lot of people I've spoken to here, of reinvention. And you're right, the Washington Post for 150 years nearly has stood for being sort of the paper of record of DC. I think we are first known for our politics and policy coverage, and at certain points have had very clear ideological points of view as well. And we have seen our mission and our responsibility shift and change, specifically over the last couple of years, where we know that we need to bring that same level of journalism and integrity and intelligence to more than just those areas. Right? We need to expand the way that we think about the coverage of science and technology and education, because there is a real need for trusted journalism and for trusted news to as big an audience as possible right now. Right? So what we are focusing on is really about access to riveting storytelling, but to news for all America. And to be able to achieve that mission we have to expand, diversify our content strategy, think differently about the types of voices that we bring in. Historically, the Post has been really good at almost slightly like multi-byline reporting. When I say that, I mean there's lots of journalists that work on one story together, and so sometimes you don't really know who actually wrote the article, right? And that again was intentional. But what we've seen shift in culture is people gravitate towards personality-driven journalism as well, right?
Yeah.
And so now we have to do, and this isn't an either-or situation for us. Now we have to do both.
Yeah.
So in addition to like expanding the coverage outside of politics, we're also thinking about like a creative first strategy. We launched actually like a creator hub. Dave Jorgensen was one of like our first brilliant reporters using social and his character, if you will, to talk about the news. And that was going for 5 years. And now we have Rachel Tajian, who's our fashion reporter. She has her own channel. We have Natalie Compton, who's amazing, and she's our travel reporter. Jeff Fowler for tech, and these individuals are now sort of the face of their stories.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite a big shift for us as well.
I love that. I mean, it shows that despite you all being an institution, not just you guys being the fourth kind of a state institution, but a fixture in American journalism, you're able to adapt and adjust to the times, which I think is really remarkable and important.
I mean, we don't really have a choice, right? Let's be clear. We don't really. I don't think any of us have a choice. It's interesting, you get that on day 3 of Cannes, like how's your Cannes? What do you think? And I think this has been one of the most interesting, actually, because I think so many different parts of our industry is in the moment of sort of urgent change and transformation. And we use like the language of reinvention because we are kind of reinventing so much of what we do, whether that's the craft, not necessarily the craft of journalism, but the way that we think about putting it together, distribution, our audiences, everything from like how they pay, where they read it, and how we build a business model as well. So, and I see lots of other companies, whether that's agencies, whether it's brands, whether it's even like, again, small sort of like smaller companies, smaller startups, also really rethinking like what their strategy is in this moment.
I love that. I mean, it's, if you don't adapt, you die. And to your point, we're at a point of urgent change for many different companies, but some will be successful and others will go away. And so I love the fact that you guys are taking really strong, bold shots about reinventing yourselves, because if you don't adapt, you'll die, period, in the story.
I mean, it's not easy work.
Yeah.
Right? It's
I can only imagine.
It's like deep and hard work. We again use some of the language of like for the brave, because you're having to make really difficult, consequential decisions. But the Washington Post can't go away.
Right.
Right. Like
it's an institution.
It's not just an institution, it's a critical part of society, and it's a critical part of kind of the eco chain. So I think if the Washington Post, has to reinvent itself, and we have to kind of go first so that we can then share those learnings with other publishers, with other news organizations, and that's kind of what we're up to.
Well, I find it fascinating because you all have done a good job of that already to a degree, because I am a Washington Post subscriber. I wouldn't be if I had to wait for a paper to arrive at my home.
Yes.
It would not work for me. Even if I had to go on to actively a site and read every day, my lifestyle just doesn't allow for that to happen.
Yeah.
So I get a chance to listen to one or many of your podcasts as I'm going for a walk around the neighborhood or other things. And so I'm able to consume news through you all, still the best journalists in the world, but in a way that doesn't allow me to be completely disrupted in my life or be ignorant in the world as a result.
I mean, interestingly enough, I think like the format is less of the like part of that story in a way. Like I'm so pleased that we have audio and video and multimodality to all of our content. But I actually think what's kind of really interesting here, and another trend that we're again really seeing and leaning into, is the idea of personalization. So like the idea that news, again, I've said this for a long time, I've said it multiple times, but like news isn't monolithic. Like it's one thing for you, it's one thing for me, your interest is something and my interest is something else. And so we have to build in a level of personalization that I think each of our audiences have like also kind of come to expect, so that you have your experience with the Washington Post and I have my experience with the Washington Post.
but not personalized experiences with the facts, right? Because this is where, and I say this only because we live in a world right now where what is news? Like what's true, what isn't? How does one sort out what the real deal is?
Is that the same question you landed at me at lunch yesterday when you were like, what is truth?
Well, what is truth?
I was like, oh my God.
Like, here we go.
Are we really doing this?
I am not Rene Descartes. I'm not trying to solve
I know. Like,
classical
let's just go with
philosophy.
some really easy questions. Tell me, what is truth?
What is truth? No, it's not really.
Well, truth
that.
is truth, right? At the end of the day,
This is what I want to get to.
At the end of the day, our editorial team, our news team, our core news team, are masters at what they do.
Yes.
They are, without a doubt, the best journalists, some of the best journalists in the world.
Right.
And the reason why they have managed to maintain that position is because they continue to make sure that all of their stories are sourced, are mostly double sourced.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually just built out our standards desk and ethics desk. Like, we have extremely strict rules as to how we actually, when we publish, how we publish, and there is deep integrity around our news journalism. And whatever the intensity of the moment or the need for rapid reinvention, that doesn't change.
Okay.
In fact, it's the thing that we probably hold the dearest in a way, because it's the thing that's the most important, which is that trust. And I think actually, if you look at right now our journalism, I'd say that it's probably better than ever. Okay. I'd say that our news is clearer and better. Go on.
No. I love that, because I think, at least, as a casual observer, an American citizen who catches news through various apps that shoot you things on my notifications, I have to believe that the source of news is in fact true. Otherwise, I'm a person of generation who gets scammed by things that aren't true. It happens all the time. So you all are a trusted source, and you've proven that over the course of time. There's so many news organizations who simply aren't.
Yeah.
They're entertainment vehicles, or they're opinion locations, but they're not necessarily reporting the facts on the ground. And so I think it's important that you just share that you all have a method for bringing truth to the public. Without that, we all kind of get confused, and
misinformation is a real challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's a real issue, and that is only going to get worse with the proliferation of artificial content. There's no doubt about that. I think you raise a couple of really important points. The first is there is also a conflation by audiences of what is opinion versus what is news.
Yeah.
News should not have commentary and personal opinion as part of it, right? It's really meant to be an unbiased reporting on the facts. Now, it is hard, and we talked about this yesterday a little bit as well, but for all writing to be completely unbiased, because just inherently humans are biased creatures.
Right.
And so what we're seeing is when we apply our AI tools, so we launched Ask the Post last year, Ask the Post AI last year, which is our own custom LLM that we trained on our archive exclusively. And when we use that tool and it sort of summarizes stories for us, it's super interesting because the AI is sort of removing some of the language bias even that is just inherently in words.
Interesting.
So I think we've got layers here, right? We've got the fact that now we can bring summaries, AI enhanced, if you will, or sort of AI specific generated content that becomes almost even the most neutral version.
Okay.
You have the news from the Washington Post news team, which has that credibility and that integrity.
Right.
And then you have opinions. And opinions is that commentary, it's the perspectives, it's the ideas from individuals that you potentially seek out because you already have a trusted relationship with them and you want their opinion on something. The reason why I say these things get conflated is because in lots of environments, they're interchangeable. Mm-hmm. You're watching the news, but really what you're watching is a bunch of people opinions on stuff.
Right.
And one of our, I think, responsibilities is to make sure that we keep our audiences educated on what the different types of journalism and news are, so that you yourself can then discern, is this the unbiased reporting truth, or is this someone's opinion?
Right. Okay. See, so you've given us a model to understand how news gets made, why it's in fact trusted, at least from the Washington Post, and then where AI fits in, and then where opinion fits in, which is, I think, in the absence of that sort of clarity, it can be conflated and confused, and I think that's where we go off the rails a little bit, and that happens. I think it's an issue that we're facing right now, at least in the American context, about what is true. So I appreciate you for breaking it down in a very simple way.
You know me, just here to solve those big problems.
That's what you do. Yeah, you already answered what truth is, and you've done it in just a few minutes' time. Well, listen, I know that we're getting close to our time here.
Wait, can I get to ask you a question?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
so,
this is weird.
Yeah,
I'm used
yeah.
to being the journalist.
Okay, all right, here we go, Damien.
This is okay.
This is what, your third, fourth year at Sports Beach?
This is our third year at Sport Beach. Yes.
Yeah. How from your perspective has it evolved and changed, and like, is this the best year ever?
Yeah. So this is a completely biased answer because it's hard for me to say best or not.
So but this is an opinion-based answer.
This is an opinion-based answer.
No facts.
No, let me give you the facts. The facts are it is bigger. The facts are the line to get in is longer. Yeah. The fact is we have incorporated more in different types of sport this year. Yeah. For example, the first year we had pickleball and we played basketball and flag football in the sand. This year we had volleyball, like the best volleyball players in the world playing volleyball. We had hockey being played on the sand just not too long ago, and pickleball and basketball. And so we've diversified the sort of sports that are represented here, and that's true also on stage, the types of people. So in that regard, there is no question that it's bigger, more diverse, and it's better. And if it's more entertaining and more engaging and more business deals get done, those are opinions that I will leave to the audience to determine whether that makes it better.
Perfect. We'll look at the data and decide. And the other question I had is, like, I'd love your thoughts on, from your perspective, why you think sports in general is having such a moment with brands and I think when I say with audiences, that's probably not quite right, but I think specifically with brands.
Yeah, I think the reason is because sport is one of the few places where you can go and get live people's attention. Like, in a world where there are a million different ways, maybe 10 million different ways to connect with individuals, it becomes harder to connect with the groups you want in mass. And so you have to micro-segment all the markets, and that can be done, but it becomes more expensive and takes more time. You can reach sports, or people through sports, in a singular fashion, right? And you have passionate people associated with that. So you can guarantee almost that you're gonna get eyeballs and people leaning in to whatever content you share in that moment. And that's why I think brands are trying to find a way to leverage them. That's part one. Part two is because, to your point about personalization, there's more personalities in sport now than ever before. And you can access those personalities. And so when you leverage an athlete, you're not just leveraging someone who plays for X, Y, and Z team. You're leveraging someone that has a separate personal brand that has built a following in and of their own. And so it makes it easier for your brand to be carried through to their followers based on them having already built an audience for the brand. And so I think it's a very smart way for brands to get involved and to access the people they want to. And I think if you're an athlete, it's a hell of a great time to be one of them too, because you can actually monetize your fame, where it's been very hard to do. In the course of time, maybe Michael Jordan was the first one to really monetize his fame. Everybody else was trying to figure it out. But like, now everybody can, like, high school students that are athletes are able to monetize their brands, and that just didn't exist in the world before. So
it's going to be a massively exciting year for sport next year.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have the World Cup. Yeah. We don't know what soccer is, but we're going to bring the whole world to watch us watch it. So it's going to be great.
Well, it's called football. So let's start.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called football.
Oh, is that too old?
Yeah, no, it's definitely called football.
Oh, it's called football. Okay. There it is. We're learning. All right. With that said, listen, thank you so much for joining us, Johanna, and for all of you for tuning in here at Sport Beach, hosted by Stagwell on the Croisette in Cannes, France. I'm Damien Journey. Thanks for joining us.